All right, so let's start with just some hand holding, or
Okay, so you
wanna
want to
start
turn your drum. You see the line over there?
This?
Yeah, that should be. There you go.
Vertical? Okay.
Yeah.
vertical.
So
Yeah.
if you have an animal skin and it's made, I wouldn't say properly, but ideally,
Mm-hmm.
they use the center back of the goat.
Oh.
So you're actually having both sides of the animal, and that way you know it's basically symmetrical sound wise.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thickness,
Right.
etc.
Yeah.
The ones that are usually in the smaller drums are made from the side pieces, the scraps. And a smaller drum doesn't really matter. They don't have quite the variation of a larger drum. Um, and if you get them, they still have the hair on them. You can actually kind of feel the hair. Some people say, is there a correct way to face this?
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, you could pet a goat that way or that way. You
Yeah.
don't really go backwards because you bristle
Uh-huh.
the... So you could kind of find it, but... All right, so let's start with the angle. I've seen people that try to do this because I tell them you got to let the air out.
Yeah.
You're pushing all the energy. There's no room for me to move.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll have shoulder problems if you do that.
Uh-huh.
Crunching
Yeah,
So-
this is when it's sitting nice and tall. So
here.
Yeah, so and the other thing is we don't use much of the chair. You use the front of the chair.
right.
Now, a couple things. All right, so ideally this is about the right angle. If it's too tall, I can still adjust it, and if it's a little shorter, but I don't want to have to be working this part as much.
Right.
I want to pivot everything.
Yeah.
That's how they can go for hours. They're not boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's all bounce, bounce. It's actually lifting the sound out. And the way they think of it is this is the tree trunk, and you're pulling it out from the ground out into the air. So the second thing, if you don't have a belt, the belt for me is nice because I can use my hands, etc. But holding, you can either just simply crisscross. If you have sneakers, some people use the backs of the sneakers. I like to do what I call the yoga drum pose.
Okay.
It's probably the most comfortable.
You cross your legs.
If you can, bigger belled drums don't always make it so easy, and then you can adjust your angle. If you choose a chair, like if you buy a portable chair, make sure it doesn't have a cross brace going right across the middle because that'll block you.
Yeah. Yep.
Usually they're a triangle, but if they're the X,
Mm-hmm.
then make sure where you're sitting, the drum can go underneath.
You don't want touching anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
awkward.
the vibration.
All right, so I'm lefty, you guys are righty, so that's good. So our heartbeat or our bass tone, we use a hand closed. All right, in other positions, we use the fingers apart. So like the bass on that, right?
Yeah, that's strong.
Yeah. Right.
And we're gonna switch to the other hand now. So ideally, I can hear they're warming up. It changes the pitch. This is good. You guys are nice and even. Bring your hand in a little more towards the center. Remember the fingers closed. So different
Like, not
teachers,
like this or like this. Yeah.
right? Different teachers will teach you different things, and there's not necessarily a perfect or absolute. So some people cup it, some people completely flatten it. To me, the cup, I think, gives you enough of the sound while also giving you some of that pressure,
Right.
because your hand really does it starts to flatten.
Yeah.
Also, when you start to go faster, the cupping allows you to be faster. For me,
You kind of cup your hand a little
yeah.
bit like this. Okay.
To me, it allows you to
Yeah.
do it faster. With it.
Well, see if you can see a sound difference. Flat, cup. You will notice a little difference. So this is why I say there's no absolute. It's part of what the desired effect is that you want to get across. And sometimes it's... My hand did not change where it hit. That was strictly the fingers.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed the sound went up. excitement level goes up when the fingers go apart.
Uh-huh.
So that would be your slap, or some people call it a strike.
Okay.
Slap is not a good term, so a lot of the drummers are switching over to strike, which
Mhm.
you're still hitting something. But with the fingers closed, and what I do, I make a V, and I pull them right out, just right until it drops. Your pads are going to be somewhere between here and here. If some people will go further out. I've seen really Mamadou Keita, he was playing a lot with his fingers, but he was also doing this.
Yeah.
So again, that's another position. It's not necessarily one of the basic three. Alright, so let's.
It's important to remember that this is the bass
Yeah.
and this is called the tone.
So what she was just doing, and we'll do it one by one, just so we can hear each other.
Okay.
The bass, the tone, and then the strike or slap should be a higher pitch, so it's easier when I don't show it, right? All right, one by one. Good.
So
Yeah.
there's three of them. Right? Bass, tap,
Tone.
tone, and tap.
All right, good. So we're going to start our first rhythm using those three, and you guys have probably heard it at Johnson Park or wherever, who knows.
Yeah.
All right, so what I did once we set up the beat is instead of going middle, middle, center, center, out, out, for lack of better, I went out, in, out.
Right.
So just for variation, when you're holding a beat, you can have two parts that are still key to the bottom or the rhythm itself, but you can vary it so that your hands are not getting tired, just so it's more interesting in sound. You might hear somebody do something and that triggers you to want to change, like a call and a response. Because part of the fun of drumming is when you start to lock in
Mm-hmm.
with either the people right next to you or somebody opposing that you can hear, and you start having these little conversations back and forth while everything else is going on. It's like a big cocktail
Right.
party, but the whole party is cohesive, yet each group is also individually cohesive.
Yeah.
And that's where it really gets fun.
Mm-hmm.
You get laughter in drumming, literally, just from that. All right, so let's continue with that. Are there any other parts that we can add to that? Well, it's a Latin American beat. You can feel the groove, so you can accent it. So
Don't try to do the.
makes it sound louder.
Sometimes you shouldn't copy him.
Well,
That's one of the times.
years ago, when we first did this rhythm, I had a friend. She said it's like Mr. Magoo. Now, Mr. Magoo, you guys are young, but Mr. Magoo, right? He had bad eyesight, and apparently there was some scene. There was some scene where I think like he was driving in a car or they were doing something, but everybody's foot went out all on that dude too. So it became sort of a little sidekick.
Oh, the phone turned around.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, we are recording.
That one is recording.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
two.
it is.
We'll correct that one. Still got this one going too.
Oh,
So,
okay.
that was very good. I was watching your hands. You want to do it?
The phone case matches your hair color, the purple. Like, you
Yeah,
guys match the phone.
we're crazy. You know, I was into colors.
only
Purple
had-
was one of them.
I've only done my hair like blonde. I've never like done different colors. That's cool. One day maybe. What do you think, hon? Should we dye our hair the same color?
Yeah.
We'll dye our hair like red or something.
Yeah.
Well, part of the fun is that you color coordinate your clothes.
Oh,
and
Yeah.
you get- I don't know
you
why I
guys
did that.
match, like,
I might have to find another.
I see you guys match,
Right.
like matching outfits and stuff.
Yeah,
The thing has a mind of its own.
it's kind of funny
It's
because
it's a gimbal,
Mm-hmm.
so it's electronic. It literally can follow around the room, but sometimes it's like your stupid smartphones that are too smart.
Yeah.
That thing's too smart too. All of a sudden it like moves.
All right, here we go. Let's see. So that's Mango Tango. Another day we'll do it where we don't need masks, and I'll give you the words and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the reasons like Dave starts with that is those three movements are the three basic. Once you know that, you know everything is built off of those three, so it's really important. But you didn't sing.
No, I didn't sing today. I started to, but
Oh yeah, you usually sing a little, right?
right.
Mhm.
So that song real quickly started out. We were going to perform as Earth Movers. By the way, you did the stop and you started again, so you're all officially Earth Movers.
Cool.
Oh,
That's how we do that when we do drum classes. And at first time, you're now a drum mover, an Earth Mover. So I wrote just Mango Tango. I just came up with tango and words, and then it slowly evolved into a song. And we performed it live at Kindred Spirits Fair, which was the predecessor to Touch Mother Earth Festival, which we're doing this September.
Oh, it's in September.
So you guys can
Yeah.
do it on stage with
Where
us.
do you guys have? Maybe.
Have some fun. Have some fun. Well, you learn the songs, and then
Yeah, maybe.
you figure out what parts. We've been watching Dune parts, so I might at some point while the three of you guys are jamming, I might go over there and add another part.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, before we get into some more complex stuff, so what I'm seeing there is and 1, 2, and. So that and where we're not drumming, we need that to maintain the meter.
Yeah, like those rests.
And a lot of African songs, they are not rock and roll songs. They don't do 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of them start just before the 1.
Uh-huh.
So Cuckoo, which we're going to do, would be like that. So I'll go back over
And the
that.
spaces often are more important than the drums. So if
Mhm.
you don't hear the space or listen to the space in the beat, it becomes really old.
That's actually an excellent point because the space is the accent because it's silent. That's where if you're dancing and you get that groove and all of a sudden whoop, everybody freezes and then starts again.
Yeah.
And you get
And
that.
it's where you breathe.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right.
So when you're drumming, it's important also to keep your muscles in. So one of the things you do after is stretch,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and these are yoga positions. Basically, you stretch them out, physical therapy, and push on your hands and stuff, and that will keep your hands always thick.
Yeah.
But in that movement, what we were doing is bass tap, not bass tap. So at home, I had to really practice this a huge amount. So when you're home, if you he has it naturally, but for me, doing this came a long time. I had to
Usually we'd be
practice a
thinking
lot.
two hands.
Because it's one hand.
Well, yeah. I think I've always was doing this for a while,
Could you repeat it? I couldn't hear you.
like I was doing it like this a while, where I used two hands with bass tap, or.
Well, one of the things that a good drummer will have their own like muscle memory of what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taught rhythms that I find very impossible, where you're supposed to strike twice with the same hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is what happens right after that requires the other hand to be available. You're like, even though you're doing it a second time, the second is setting up the new pattern.
Right.
So you have to eliminate the thought that it's, even though they're back to back. And so, but he told us, if you can't do it with your other hand. But he said what's going to happen is when you have to get faster, then you won't be able to do it. So you have to learn to do it, certain rhythms. But
And I literally had to practice that muscle memory to get it down. Once I got it down,
Right.
you're okay. But to me, it took a huge amount of practice. For him, it's like not, but that's part of being a left-hander, I think. They have different muscle memory.
Your left hand and your right.
I switched to left when we got together,
Really?
and that's because it doesn't really
with drumming, but maybe not with writing.
mainly
Not with
I'm
cooking
right-handed,
or
but
writing.
my
You was my
son
left
and
and
my
right-handed.
mother were left-handed.
Kinda
So there's certain things that I do left-handed
ambidextrous or
anyway.
something like you do
So I don't. Most of the time, I don't find it a challenge.
I do have a hard time reversing it, right?
Yeah, but yeah, sometimes I'll naturally reverse it and also him off. But
So here's your first homework challenge.
Okay.
At some point, when you're home together and you each have your glass of water, maybe on the table so that it's convenient, while you're drumming, go and pick up that glass and not lose the rhythm, because now your hand is out of the equation.
Yeah.
You have to do this one hand for both. Try that.
Okay.
Because
Well,
that'll happen.
why don't-
Sometimes we're in the middle of the circle, something blows over or whatever, something,
But that's not how we practice it. Wait, stop. Tell them how we really practice it. What we do is we kiss, and you'll see it in the middle of a circle.
Oh, that's
We
true. yeah.
basically will lean over and kiss each
All
other
right.
and not lose the rhythm.
guys are
The
cute.
first time he did that, I went, "What?" I mean, I totally lost
Lovebirds.
it. But then that was good practice. So try kissing in the middle and not losing your rhythm.